As a service member, oftentimes we are told stories or we hear stories from our family members where a service member is killed in action and they never return home. I, crazily enough, had the experience of quite the opposite. I grew up hearing about stories of my Uncle Dick, who had served in the Army in World War II, and unfortunately he was killed in action and was missing as well. So he was declared missing in action. 77 years go by and his body is recovered and returned home after being identified. There's an organization called the DPAA whose sole focus is to recover remains from overseas, any war zone, identify them and return them home to be laid to rest. In my experience, it was my great-great-uncle, First Lt James Earl Wright. He served in the Army during World War II and was killed in action and deemed missing in action as well during his fight in France. It's absolutely insane how this process turned up. It was super late, around 9 o'clock, and I get a phone call from my grandmother who tells me that my uncle has been found. Of course, I had grown up hearing the stories about him, but I never actually understood that this moment could happen for our family where we could finally lay him to rest. In June of 2021, my grandma informed me that my Uncle Dick had been identified. Very shortly after, on October 12th of 2021, we were able to have a full military honors service for him and lay him to rest in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I had the honor of being the dignified escort for his remains all the way from Offut, Nebraska to Fayetteville, North Carolina. In this instance, the DPAA, the Army as a whole, the state of North Carolina, and the North Carolina Army National Guard all came to show their support, to set up every single thing that we needed as a family, and to make sure that he had the most beautiful service provided. At the same time, we were told that there are around 99 other individuals that had been properly identified and returned home to their families. This just goes to show that the efforts of the DPAA are really coming together to bring the most important thing back to families, and that is their loved ones.